All right, I'm going to share screen.
Thank you. So with that, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 10:40 a.m. If we can turn it over, Chris, to your team for the, if we can all stand for the pledge first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Chris, if your team can recite the pledge.
Sure, Casey.
As a citizen of the world, I will follow Goethe's circle of learning. Curiosity opens my mind, ideas lead to knowledge, responsible choices show respect, cooperation strengthens others, learners are courageous, empathy creates community.
And for German, Biggie.
Als ein Bürger dieser Welt folge ich dem Kreis des Lernens, neugierig, ideenreich, respektvoll, kooperativ, mutig, empathisch.
And we'll turn to a roll call. Yasir?
I'm here.
Katrin?
Here.
I'm here. Confirming we don't yet have Frank or Pete on the call, and we're not expecting Pete today.
Correct. Frank has indicated he's going to be joining us in a few moments, and Pete was unable in the morning. Had other days or other times he was able to do it, but this was a time when everybody had said, so we went with this time.
Thanks. So we are quorum with 3, so we'll proceed to the affirmation of board findings pursuant to Government Code Section 549.53E. I move for the affirmation. Do I have a second?
I can second.
Thanks. And again, do we need to read this out, Chris?
Just an explanation that this is saying this is a safe way for us to meet, and we are meeting in accordance with the guidance from the state of California.
Thanks. With that, I'll call for a vote. Yasir?
Aye.
Katrin?
Yes.
And I also approve. Thank you. Next, we'll move to the agenda as presented. Do I have anyone to move the agenda?
I can, yeah, go for it. Yes, you.
And second,
Hello.
to move by Yasir. I can
Yeah.
second it.
All right.
All right. Call for a vote. Yasir,
Aye.
Katrin,
Aye.
I also approve. Next, we have the public comment on general items in the board's jurisdiction. Chris, I'll turn this to you and your team.
Okay, Casey, if you could just do the first part of that reading out.
What do you mean, just the first part?
Just the first main sentence.
The public comments pertaining to agenda items can and will be taken prior to discussion and or vote on the respective item. Just that one?
Yeah, and the public may comment on any item that is on the agenda or any other item in the board's jurisdictions, but the board members of the public who wish to comment during the meeting may raise hand, use the raise hand tool. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and total time for that purpose will not exceed 30 minutes. Thank you.
And do we have any comments from the public today?
No, not at this time.
So with that, let's move to the items for discussion and action. We have one item under there today. It's the approval of the 5% salary increase for non-administrative certificated employees and a 5% hourly increase for non-administrative classified employees. Do I have someone to move this item?
I can move. This is Katrin.
Thanks, Katrin. Do I have a second? I'll go ahead. Oh, great. Thanks, Yasir. So Chris, turning to your team for discussion.
All right, thank you, Sam. I appreciate everyone getting together on a Saturday for this. We've been talking through budget over the previous months, and with the advent of the May revise, there was money that the governor had put forward towards schools that included the 6.5% cost of living adjustment, but also included ongoing money beyond that. And at this point, school services has not put that into the amounts that are accounted for in our budget scenario. And they are awaiting legislative change, as we are as well. That hasn't occurred yet. And this is a move forward, a request to move forward on a 5% salary increase. This would be for non-administrative certificated employees and for non-administrative classified employees. The purpose of this is pretty clear. We are well behind where other district schools as well as charter schools are in salary, and this brings us more in line with that. We're still at the lower end, but this also brings us closer to being fully above the minimum, which is the minimum based on minimum wage, has a formula that calculates out for exempt employees. And as such, this brings us closer to being in full compliance with that. We still have a couple of areas at the bottom of our scale in the first year with a BA and a second year with a BA, and also first year with a BA plus 15 that fall below that. So those employees do come up to that level, just as we did last year. And for those employees with this increase, I also want to make a addition so that they are whole with the 5% raise, and making sure that from where they were last year to this year. And I would do that with a one-time re-signing stipend for a few employees that are affected by that. I'm trying to make sure everyone is getting the 5% for who is with us and is staying with us. With that said, our intent is to offer on Monday those contracts to our teachers with the salary increases that was shared in the Dropbox with everyone. Looks like Frank was trying to get through on my phone as well. I don't know if has he added on yet, Casey?
He's here.
Okay, great. But I do have Yasir on the phone, so I could not jump off on that. So we have 4 of our board members present.
When did Frank join? Just for the meeting minutes?
10:49.
10:49. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. So with that, I put it back to the board if there are any questions.
Thanks, Chris. So Frank, do you have any questions, or do you want to listen to the rest before we go through? I know you just joined.
I don't have any questions.
Great, thanks. Yasir?
So Chris, when do we do the contract for teachers? Like, when is it absolutely? I mean, I'm okay with it though. It's just I want to make sure this doesn't, happen again. And it was my understanding that we did the contracts for all the teachers after the board approved on the upcoming year's budget.
No, in past years, we have always done them usually in May. We haven't had a salary increase, but the last time we did have a salary increase, that was approved in May, and that was in 2019. So yes, I would say we can avoid this in the future. If we are looking at a potential salary increase, we need to have it brought to the board for, I would say, a look at in April so that we can approve in May.
thank you. I was unclear about that. The second question is about really the taking base salary instead of USD. I think one of the things that we need to do structurally is to build that in to the budget every year. And we should probably vote on that next year. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Katrin?
No questions at the moment.
Thanks. So Chris, I have one question. So what will happen? So we'll vote on this today, and if it's approved, then when we get the budget for discussion and consideration later this week or later this month, the budget item will reflect the increase. And so we'll just need to make sure that if we do anything to request changes to the budget, we don't change that line because of our support that we'll likely issue today.
That's exactly correct. It will be included in the budget. And what we're hoping is that by that time, that budget will show more income that we expect to get. And if it does not, we may be presenting a negative budget and realizing that reserves could be affected if that were the case. If we don't have it even by that point, it probably just means that the legislature hasn't acted on a finalized budget, which last year didn't happen until the first week of July. So that's, it's just where we're at. And if we would need to do a renewed or a budget revision, we would be looking at that in August. So that's the way it would play out. But we are, it will definitely be a part of that. And the other piece that is, when I've talked this over with Ryan, he also said, our situation is also unique in that the overallocation penalties from prior years are affecting this current year in the budget. And we really should be thinking about those as something that comes out of reserves as opposed to the current year budget. So I know it's all, put it in this pot, put it in that pot, put it in the next pot, and try to make sense of it. But that's the way one could look at this is that overallocation penalties that go back to 2016 really shouldn't be affecting the ongoing budget of the current year. It's still a cost we have to bear, but it should be considered out of reserves. And so that's another way of looking at this. So the long answer to say, yes, it will show in the budget that will be presented for the June 23rd budget and LCAP meeting.
Thanks. Any other questions, Frank?
No.
Yasir?
Sorry, so you asking me? Yeah, no question. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Katrin?
No.
And no further from me. So so with that, let's move to a vote. Frank?
Aye.
Yasir? Katrin?
Aye.
And I also vote in favor, so this passes. So thanks, Chris, for bringing this to us.
Sorry, I was late, guys.
So let's move to the next item in the agenda, new business. Do we have next steps and follow-up meeting times? Are there new items? I know we have our budget meeting set for the 17th, I believe. Or my dates are getting messed up, but we have our budget meeting set up
For the
for our
23rd.
next meeting, the 23rd. And then,
Yes.
Okay.
I have to drop off.
Okay, Yasir
Okay.
has to drop off, and just for note the time, 10:55.
All right, thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I kept you guys waiting.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay, bye.
Are there any other next steps that you need the board to take or that you want to lay out for our team or for your team that we wouldn't expect before the next meeting?
No, we have the annual meeting coming up and then the budget meeting on the 23rd. Their annual meeting is on the 13th and both.
That's right. Yes, thank you. With that, I think we'll move, well, let me first check. Frank or Katrin, did you have any other new business that you wanted to raise today?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you.
Neither
Gotcha.
join.
Thank you. Does someone move to adjourn?
I move.
Thank you. Second,
I can second.
great. So Frank,
Aye.
Katrin,
Aye.
I also move to adjourn. Thanks, Chris and your team for putting this together and getting us together on such short notice.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. And we will move forward on those contracts and you'll see the finished result on the 23rd.
Have a
Excellent.
good weekend, everybody.